Hello and welcome back to Kit and Kajira Gaming. You can call me KK, and in today's video we are going to be designing my very first biome in the Sunlit Plateau, and we're getting ready just in time for Mabon and Samhain. And for those of you that don't know what that means, we're basically just getting ready for fall. This was inspired by the latest Dream Snaps from last week, which was, I think it was like Cozy Fall Outfit Challenge. I took it a little bit further and ended up doing a biome. So let's get going on starting this biome. So we're going to go ahead and speed through all of this, but I ended up designing it on the back half of the Sunlit Plateau where this giant pond was, because when I first started this biome design, I had not unlocked Scar, so we didn't have the waterfall, we didn't have the river, none of it. So what I do whenever I am initially starting a biome design or a plot design or whatever design I'm going to do, I always end up pulling everything out of my inventory to figure out if I'm actually going to include these. So it's kind of like a vision board, but it's all really just lumped together. You're going to see a couple of outfit changes, a couple of weather changes. This was designed over a couple of days worth of play in between me doing quests. So this first half, I'm actually designing the backdrop that you see for my Cozy Fall Dream Snaps challenge, and it does get changed around a little bit, you'll notice in the later half of the video. But we're just going to go ahead and make this upper part sort of like a fall farmer's market meets pumpkin patch road stand kind of thing. I do live out in the country, so these kind of little mini markets on the side of the road are pretty common out here. So I wanted to kind of incorporate that into this build as well. So we're going to have, like, obviously lots of pumpkins and all the orange and red foliages. So I'm putting that marigold basket that was in the autumn bundle code. I will leave the code up here. It should still be valid as of October 4th, 2023. It is still valid. We're going to go ahead and craft a bunch of stuff. As I'm going through, I'm realizing that I don't actually have a lot of the materials I need, so I end up taking a break and going grinding, but for now we're just going to go ahead and craft what I can. I didn't realize when I first crafted these hay bales that they were so big. I didn't realize that they were going to end up being quote-unquote true to life hay bale size, so oops. But eventually they do come in and it works perfectly. So I'm trying to section off this area over to the right, closest to the Forgotten Lands, almost like a corn maze. So I'm kind of trying to section everything off, trying different pathways to see what looks right. And I ended up going with the sun-baked earthen path because A, it just goes with the biome, so it kind of fits into the whole farm stand feel. It looks pretty natural, like the dust and dirt that you would find on a farm. Moving lots and lots and lots of foliage everywhere and still working on these little patches of dirt. I didn't want it to look too put together, if that makes sense. And I had to go craft a bunch more because I only have what I picked up from around the biome. I will say I do hate the amount of collision space that are on a lot of these items. I'm used to playing Polia lately where I can get everything basically like touching each other and there isn't that annoying little gap. But I make it work. So here you see me kind of partitioning out how I want my corn maze to go. And I do learn later that corn does not grow very big here in Dreamlight Valley, which was kind of a bummer because I had never grown corn before in the game, so I didn't know how tall it grew, and it kind of essentially ruined my plan, but I didn't realize it until after all the work was done, so I left it. And I am working around some of the wildebeest bone fragments because, like I said, I had not unlocked Scar at this point, so I didn't have the upgraded shovel to get rid of them, but I think it just adds to that fall feel, and I can later transition it into spooky season. And here we go on this side. I'm just going to plant all of my pumpkins, and these are just going to stay here throughout the biome. And on this side again, this is corn, and I do not plan on picking these until it is time for me to change up for the season. I debated on putting a pathway through here, but quickly decided against it. It just did not look right. Now this is the part that you're going to see change between now and when I do my final walkthrough in a separate video, is this orchard that I'm going to start building over on the right. First, we're going to just position all these little pumpkins and some of the Sunlit Plateau underbrush. I really like the colors of these underbrush. What I did not like is how I did this orchard. You guys are going to see I keep changing everything around closer to the cliffside, and it's just a hot mess. I do like the mix of these barrels and some pumpkins and these gooseberry bushes. I think just the muted browns and golds played off really well. I had a little campfire stove thing here. I figured, who knows, maybe a villager's going to come by and, you know, cook up some pumpkin or something. Who knows? It added a nice warm firelight, possibly for s'mores. That would be a cool addition to the game, but I don't think they have it. All right, working on this back corner, we're gonna try and decorate with these rocks, and everything it wasn't initially going the way I wanted it to. I got it to work for my dream snaps, but then towards the latter half, after the dream snaps were over, when I focused on just this front part, I hated it. So there you see that orchard that I mentioned earlier, and I just hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. So again, just positioning all of these various flowers and buckets. I wanted it to feel almost cluttered with random finds that you would find throughout a farmer's little roadside stand. So you have tipped flower pots, a bunch of pumpkins, there were baskets of flowers. I will say, so that vegetable stand that's over by Goofy's stall, I've only played Dreamlight Valley for maybe, we're gonna say, a max of 2 months. 2 months I played this game, and I have gotten that one, and then a few days later I ended up with the Whitewood one. So I've gotten super lucky that I've gotten both. Now what I did here is I just dropped all of the yellow, red, and orange nasturtiums, and then I dropped all of my sunflowers and kind of let them naturally just spawn where the drop rate put them. However, most of them tend to spawn around the river, so I am kind of moving them around a little bit. I did position the sunflowers to look a little more purposefully placed, but it did hide those gaps from where the pumpkins and the bushes don't actually meet. Again, not too happy with the collision on some of these items, but I think I make it work, at least for this build I do. And I did put some of those fake logs over by the fire too. And here we go. I am working on getting rid of my original orchard design because I hated it. So we're going to have this curved path. We're going to have a straight path up, and then we're going to have it curve around the lake. And then we're just going to have my trees and my bushes kind of curve along with it. And then we do something super awesome that I found on Elserine's channel. I think it was her that did it. I'm going to end up taking some teeny tiny rocks and using them as my rock path. But first, along the river or the pond bank, I'm going to make this little hideaway area. I originally wanted like a little cooking mat. This was from the Moana quest. I think I got it from Maui, but I didn't like the way it looked with the bench. You see here, I do remove it, and I use the Lilo and Stitch hammock instead, which came out so much cuter because who does not just want to sit at a pond side with some yummy food and a fire, and just fantastic. So here I am curving those trees, again using the wildebeest bones as kind of my marker, and then they're going to branch open to the other side of what I would deem as like the back rooms to a farmer's market. So basically where the farmer would store all of their crafting items and their extra stock of produce and whatnot. And there's a little path design I was telling you about, just kind of trying to create a curved path through the orchard that Dreamlight Valley does not offer. Everything is very pixelated and one direction. So we gotta make do with what we've got. Of course, to make it look a little more realistic, we need to make sure we rotate the rocks the best we can. And I am filling in some of these blank green spaces with that sun-baked path as well. Some more underbrush and some cattails around the pond, again, just to make it a little more natural. I did end up deciding to use this Simba coffee table that I got from Scrooge's shop. I liked how the orange played off on it, and then I believe this is Wally's cooler. I think I also got it from Scrooge as well. Always remember to save at least every 5 minutes. I learned this the hard way because I did not, and when I think it rebooted or something happened and there had been a good like 20 minutes where I had been designing and it didn't save when I exited the menu, and I had to start all over. So I'm going to try and work the well into the build as well, since a lot of my stuff is on this side. I want to keep the well over here as my central focus point. I think once I open up this bridge, I will probably move the well, but for now I do like where I'm going to end up positioning it, which is not where I'm positioning it right now. I realized halfway through trying to figure out why these trees weren't fitting, why the well wasn't fitting, that it's because that boneyard bridge was there. And it's obviously not going to fit there because in a later part of the quest I have to open it up. So just taking a couple of these large trees and sort of hiding the well, but also making it kind of like a foresty entrance into the world of this farmer. Using these rocks and this pathway again to create that curved effect. Tossing in some underbrush and some ferns, and we're just gonna kind of make it look as natural as possible. Now I do want to make sure I am able to get around all of these trees and any sort of decor items that I am putting down so that I can still pick up my resources. Hey look, it's another day. Like I said, it did take me a while to do this, so there's different outfit changes, there's various weather biomes, and you know what? It happens. It happens. I do think it kind of adds to the effect of how long it took to build this area. So on this side, like I said earlier, I wanted it to kind of resemble the back end for the farmer, so I'm going to have some crops over in this end. Just a couple of fall ones that you would find. So I think I did tomato and okra and corn, I think, or maybe it was just tomato and okra. Pulling out some of these empty crates and some of the sacks. I think there's supposed to be like sacks of soil, but it just says sack, and then there's also burlap sack, but I liked that these ones were standing upright. I did get this little outhouse from Scrooge's shop, which I absolutely adore. So I decide to use this area as almost like it's a staging area. So we have an empty crate, we have the bags of soil, various produce everywhere. I'm getting really mad that these pumpkins just don't fit right. That plant I put up in the corner is a Venus flytrap plant that I also got from Scrooge's shop. A couple of these flower boxes, as if the farmer was currently working on them. And of course the crafting bench. I kept the one, I say kept, I actually stole this one from Goofy's house and put it over here because it just fit nicely and I didn't feel like crafting another one. We're going to toss in some of the Sunlit Plateau tall grass just to give it an unkempt, almost wild feel, and then we're going to work on decorating the front of this little garden patch. I will say, if you are new to decorating or placing trees out of the furniture menu onto your biomes, I do just want to let you know that the trees are not all one size. You have to actually click through all of them to find the size that you want. There is no way to say, hey, I want a small version of this tree or a long version. You just kind of have to figure it out. And this is basically all I end up doing. I do have some apples that I kind of want to sprinkle around, just for some added fall aesthetic, because it's not just all about pumpkins, guys. You can't forget apples. I am personally an apple cider kind of gal. I am basically apples everything, but I absolutely love pumpkin pie. That's probably about the only thing pumpkin that I can withstand. Clean up some of this tree mess, add some more underbrush and a little bit more pathing to lead to the crops that are over here. And now we're going to decorate over by the cliffs and the path that leads up to the orchard. We can't leave that area bare, it just would not look right. So I do just throw some rocks everywhere, and then I'm just going to throw some trees. And this little random patch of dirt that you guys see, that is actually part of the biome. It's not something I threw down. I do end up creating a cozy little seating area. And I do not show this in this video, but I do eventually go through and add some torch lighting, which you guys will see in the Sunlit Valley tour that I will do in a separate video. So I want you guys to be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I will be posting that in a completely separate video, because this one is already long. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I know this was really long.